50,000 years ago, woolly mammoths roamed a frozen world, completely unaware of an invisible killer buried beneath their feet. For tens of thousands of years, that killer lay perfectly still in pitch-black, frozen silence. Neanderthals vanished, human civilization rose, and thousands of years passed, yet this thing never died. Then in 2014, a team of scientists pulled it out of the ground and brought it back into the warm air. The moment it thawed, something terrifying happened. It opened its eyes. It was not a dead fossil, it was fully alive, hungry and ready to attack. So what exactly did researchers wake up from the Ice Age, and why does it still work after 50,000 years? To understand how this nightmare began, we have to travel to one of the most hostile places on Earth, northeastern Siberia. Here the ground stays frozen solid all year round, forming a thick layer called permafrost that reaches hundreds of meters deep. In 2014, French researchers journeyed into this remote wilderness to collect core samples from 30 meters below the surface. They were not looking for oil, gold, or dinosaur bones. They were hunting for biological time capsules, microscopic organisms locked away since the late Pleistocene era. When carbon dating came back, the results stunned the team. The soil layer had been frozen solid for over 30,000 years, dating back to when humans shared the planet with Neanderthals. Inside this ancient soil lay a microscopic monster unlike anything modern medicine had seen before. They named it Pithovirus sibericum, and its sheer size threw the scientific community into utter disbelief. Most viruses are tiny, delicate things, invisible even under standard optical microscopes. But Pithovirus is a giant. It is larger than some species of bacteria. It is so massive that scientists could actually see it using a normal light microscope. It was shaped like a tiny leather flask, sealed at one end with a strange honeycomb-patterned cork. Finding a giant ancient virus was impressive, but the real test was yet to come. Was this thing just a broken fragment of history, or was it still active? To find out, scientists introduced the thawed virus to a living host, a modern amoeba. They waited to see if thousands of years in deep freeze had ruined its ability to strike. The result was instant and horrifying. The ancient virus latched onto the amoeba, tricked the host into engulfing it, and took complete control of the cell. It hijacked the amoeba's machinery, forced it to produce hundreds of new copies, and then burst the cell open from the inside. After 50,000 years in dark ice, Pithovirus was just as deadly as the day it froze. How can a complex biological structure survive 50,000 years without breaking down? In normal conditions, radiation, heat, and oxygen destroy biological material very quickly. DNA breaks apart, proteins unfurl, and genetic code gets scrambled into useless noise. But deep Siberian permafrost creates the ultimate biological vault. 30 meters down, there is absolute darkness, zero oxygen, and freezing cold temperatures that never fluctuate. This combination effectively freezes chemical time. Molecular motion slows down to almost nothing, preventing decay from even starting. On top of that, giant viruses like Pithovirus possess remarkably tough protective coats. Their DNA is packaged inside dense protein armor that shields their genes from environmental damage. They do not need to eat, breathe, or expend energy while dormant. They simply wait like a set trap, ready to spring back to life the instant conditions warm up. If this were just an isolated laboratory experiment, it would be a fascinating science trivia fact. But Pithovirus is not an isolated case, it is a warning sign. Across Siberia, Alaska, and Canada, permafrost covers nearly a quarter of the northern hemisphere's land surface. And right now, that frozen ground is thawing at an unprecedented rate. As global temperatures rise, northern regions are warming up to 3 times faster than the rest of the planet. Ancient ice layers that remained frozen since the dawn of humanity are now turning into soft, muddy sludge. This mass thaw is exposing long-buried organic material to warm air and sunlight for the first time in millennia. Scientists estimate that permafrost holds billions of tons of frozen microbes, bacteria, and ancient viruses. In 2016, an outbreak of anthrax hit a remote Siberian village after warm weather melted permafrost and exposed an infected reindeer carcass from 75 years earlier. That was an infection buried for decades. Permafrost thaws are now unlocking layers buried for tens of thousands of years. We are unlocking a biological library filled with pathogens that human immune systems have never encountered. So does this mean a prehistoric pandemic is right around the corner? Before panic sets in, there is critical context you need to understand. Pithovirus sibericum only infects single-celled amoebae. It poses zero threat to human beings or animals. Scientists intentionally target amoeba-infecting viruses precisely because they are safe to study in standard laboratories. They act as safe test subjects to help us understand how ancient pathogens survive deep freeze conditions. However, the underlying mechanism applies to other microorganisms as well. If giant viruses can keep their infectious machinery intact for 50,000 years, so can ancient strains of bacteria or mammal viruses. Traces of ancient smallpox and prehistoric influenza could theoretically be locked inside these deep ice layers. Our modern immune systems have zero evolutionary memory or antibodies against pathogens that vanished tens of thousands of years ago. Scientists are now racing against time, scanning northern permafrost to catalogue what is waking up before it enters the ecosystem. They are digging up the past so we are not caught unprepared by the future. Because as the planet continues to heat up, the line between ancient history and modern reality grows thinner every day. If a 50,000-year-old virus can wake up and hunt again today, what else is waiting down there in the dark? If you enjoyed this deep dive into nature's strangest mysteries, hit the subscribe button to catch our next story.